Okay, we on.
We're on?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Morning. Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Wrong movie. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tech Guy, Some Guy podcast. My name is Carlos, alongside with
Rod.
and
Omar.
And we're just a bunch of tech guys where we talk tech news, pop culture with random rants in between. I think today's going to be more random rants than anything else.
And in between.
Free ball episode.
Free ball episode, which basically means, we're just too busy to do stuff.
It means you got like very few bullet points.
Wait, we got some bullet points?
Yeah, we have a couple. We have a
two.
couple.
Okay,
You know.
you know what's funny? Remember last week where halfway through it died?
Yeah.
It's still dead.
What is your thing?
Yeah.
Maybe you need a new phone that's not LG, like a
That's a great idea.
Samsung.
Well,
S9 or-
You know what? I'm at the point right now where it's
Or
definitely
Pixel
time.
3 when it
But
comes out.
what
in
would you
a few
do?
months.
Because
Which one would I do?
Do
'cause they're-
BlackBerry, bro.
the BlackBerry is nice. They're about to announce the G7 next month, next month or this month, I forget.
Okay.
You don't sound. He said okay.
He's like, I'm not excited.
I give a shit about LG. Pixel.
LG
You gotta wait for the
right here.
Pixel. S9's out. That's it.
You can wait for
Yeah,
Note
that's why
9. Wait for if you
No,
want.
see,
Anything else, you gotta wait.
Yeah, that's why I'm like right now. I think I'm just gonna go for the S9.
I mean, the iPhone 9 is not out till later, so.
Yeah, me jumping into an iPhone. That's
going
definitely not
iPhone.
gonna happen.
I'm
bro.
just saying, these possibilities exist. Nobody ever thought I would be a Samsung user, but here I am.
Yeah, you're like over at 3 months now, or no, I'm sorry, 3 weeks now with
Yeah.
Samsung, right?
I like 3 months. Damn.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Not that long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's texting me like, "Yo, Samsung's all Samsung apps suck." What?
Yeah, with the exception of the camera app, and even then, I've started using the Lightroom camera app instead.
You know what you do? I gotta give it to you. It's somewhere buried in XDA. They have the Pixel app that gives you the HDR and all that.
No shit, I'm gonna check that out
There you
because
go.
It's open for
I
all
only
Android
use
phones.
I only use the phone and the camera app on on the Samsung. Everything else is a Google app.
got it. Okay, if that's the case.
And I mean, for a guy going from Apple to Samsung, that's a better transition because it definitely works better.
What do you use?
I just use a regular camera app.
No, just regular. As far as like the majority of apps, are you mostly
LG apps.
Hell no.
default or
No.
Google or you?
Typical bloatware.
Or a
typical
little bit here
bloatware
and
is
there.
never used. 9 out of 10 is always like the Google stuff. I do use Keep regularly now. Google Home. Yeah, I mean just 9 out of 10, and that's just basically the social media apps.
Now we gotta get you on Android messages.
For real.
No,
You know. Wait, like you mentioning that, I was actually using whatever messaging app LG came with in this thing, and he was just showing me, I guess, the Google Messages of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that might have to be the new one.
Well, only reason I mention that, not even just this way you like, ooh, look how pretty it is, because I know that a few times in the group chats, it'll be a group chat and you reply, but I guess the reply that
And it
comes,
goes to him.
It'll
That's
go
what
to a
happened today.
single user. Like today, it went to
Yeah.
him. Other days, it'll go to me.
I got
For
no,
real.
I got no damn.
It's not an issue, but I'm just like,
Might be something you need to consider.
if you want to tighten that up, you got options.
Okay, cool. So since I don't have access to my notes, what the hell?
There's only 2 bullet points in
What do
there
we got?
right
All
now.
right, so NAB, which is the National American Broadcasters Convention, was last week in Vegas. It is probably one of the largest conventions in the United States.
Omar, you've been to
And I'm
one.
talking about, I haven't been to it. I mean, I've been invited to it. I just haven't had the time to go buy a ticket and spend like 3-4 days in Vegas. The people who have been there, who I've talked to, it is huge. It is literally their convention center in
Is
Vegas.
that the Las Vegas Convention Center?
Yes, but it's so big. It's so big.
It's like 3 or 4 Javits centers.
But think about it like this:
Exaggerated.
the NAB is so big that they actually have to take some of it and do it at an off-site location.
Off site.
Oh,
So it's
so
just like
basically
CES.
Yes,
I was gonna say it's kind of
huge.
like CES,
'Cause-
kind of like SEMA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like
'cause-
Comic Con. Like
All that, because CES is in the Las Vegas Convention Center, and
that
then you
is
have
huge, bro.
you have
It's
stuff
immense.
off-site where you got to take shuttle buses
Yes.
to do meetings and other stuff. And
They
stuff.
had things
Fucking crazy.
outside for like this year. They had it for like they do it a lot for drones. They go up to by the airfield and just let the drones fly a little bit. So that was this week. A lot of cool things. It mostly has to do for like broadcasters, anybody in media or social media, anything camera related, cinema. It has to do with media, video creation, even podcasts. There was a lot of gear. This is a gear year. Like everybody always goes out, announces their new toys, and there was a lot of toys being announced.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you see any highlights that you were like, hell yeah?
He said, "But what you getting?"
I think, and it's been on everybody's radar, especially when it comes like to camera people. the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, that stole the show. I mean, it's.
But it was quiet though, camera wise.
It was quiet.
Like
yes.
the FS5 II and some.
And the FS5 II is a disappointment to say the least.
They didn't really do anything.
They didn't do it. So basically,
4K HDR or some shit.
No, they already had that in the latest film. So what they actually added was, I have the FS5 Mark 1. So Mark 1, when you do the ND filters, it has like NDs that kind of has 3 NDs that kind of rotates on the turret inside of it.
It's built in. Yeah.
Or you can go variable and it does a digital thing to kind of bring down the stops. This new one it did is it has a clear ND, so it keeps the sensor clean, and then it has a black ND, which apparently is a better ND to have, and then you use it as you just use it as a variable. There's no more gradient; it's just a variable straight. They gave all the licenses that you normally have to pay for the FS5 Mark 1. They gave all those licenses for free, so they're already upgraded in the camera. So the camera is basically the same body, same everything. No new sensor, no new technology, other than they just gave you a newer ND. That's it.
If anybody,
that is
real
it.
quick, before we start getting a little bit too technical, and people are like, "What the hell is an ND?" It's basically a filter. It's basically sunglasses.
Sunglasses. Yep.
Yeah, it cuts down the light because sometimes if it's too bright, you see white blowing out spots. So that's basically. And then the thing is that it's pissed off a lot of people who have the older camera, because the old camera came out at 5750 by the time tax was done. This new camera is 4750.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
so,
wait. Time out. Go back again.
Exactly. The
Heard
camera
him right.
is 4750.
The new one.
The new one. The old one was 5750. Mind you, and you still, for the old one, you still have to buy these 2 licenses. Which, if you want the licenses, all the licenses that they had that are
Right.
for sale for the FS5 is a total of $1,500 because each license is $500.
Sorry.
And that
Yeah.
it's already being given for free in the Mark II. So Sony's about to piss off a lot of people. They've been saying, you know what, we're going to come out with an offer where you can get all 3 for a super rebated. Unless that rebated cost is like $150 for all 3, you're going to see a lot of motherfuckers just say, deuces, Sony. Because
and then go get that red.
Go get that red, or you're going to go see that Blackmagic is...
Sorry to cut you off. Isn't there some, I saw it on No Film School. There's another...
The Gemini.
Starts with a K or something? Not a red.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they're trying to be like a red competitor.
So
Not
they
trying to be, but they're just trying to be alternative, I guess.
The alternative, they just came out with their newer model with the newer sensor, better low light. They have the thing about red is that their SSD are proprietary. So the memory cards that they actually cost, that they use for their cameras, cost so much. They literally cost about, depending on the storage size, anywhere from like $1,200 to like $2,500 for a memory card, not even like an extra camera. So
but their memory cards are SSDs though.
It's what it is, exactly, an SSD. So Kinfinity, I think is the name. They have a new one called Mavi, and it's for their new sensor. They have a Super 35 and a full frame 6K version. You can get a full Super 35 camera with ready to shoot and everything with the pack, with the exception of the memory cards. The memory cards on that camera are regular SSD standard. You just pop it in, pop it out. Simple and go.
SSD
or
SD?
SSD.
Okay.
Yeah. So for that, it is about $7,500 for a whole package ready to go to get a cinema camera. It does slow-mo internal. It does compression rate, so you can go, compress it so you don't have to have such big file sizes.
And how much is
the cheapest?
The red, the one that's sold at the Apple Store.
The cheapest red that you have out of the box ready to shoot, which is the Raven, is literally
like $15K.
About $15K when everything's said and done. Now that Raven is, you can probably buy online for cheaper now because people are trying to kind of dump it off because Red just came out with their Gemini, which is they made it specifically for space travel, so you can capture super, super, super low light. And then they said, you know what? People wanted super low light. Let's sell it. So a lot of people are returning. And the thing is that camera costs the same price and is a much better camera than their Scarlett 5K. So basically, if you buy a Scarlett 5K, and you didn't wait until this one came out, you're shit out of luck because that was a lot better camera. Does dual ISO, better image. So it's like, now you're fucking people are getting. They're getting pissed, obviously, but so the big camera was the Blackmagic Pocket. It's a interesting little camera. It uses old Sony batteries from the camcorders.
Yeah.
It uses SSD.
Yep.
It uses compact flash,
And
or if you
regular
have a USB 3 solid state hard
SD.
drive.
You said
Oh yeah,
SSD.
SSD, USB 3 SSD. Like, but it has to be one of the more fast. Like, it can't be like the knockoff one. It has to be like Samsung has a good one that's
Right.
super fast. You can literally plug it
No,
into
but
into your camera,
any
and it can
drive.
direct into there.
Yeah, any USB 3.0 drive, whether it's preferably pocketable, but if it's not, you
Yeah.
can plug it in there and just like,
That's
I'm
it.
recording
It's just
all
the speed has to be
this.
compatible, so that has no drop frames. But you can literally record until that dies, or until you have to change the battery, or if you have it connected to the AC, it can
One
go
or the other.
forever. And then because of the format, the other thing is that was a big camera. That camera probably, because if anything goes the way I planned, I'm probably gonna go rid of my Sony. Because
Is that
after
your next plan?
I'm getting rid of the Sony after the issues I've had with Sony, just to get. So my camera is still in the shop. It's been a month later. It literally took them 10 days for them to tell me what's wrong with it, because they had to do a diagnostics.
What was wrong with it?
So the black part of my camera has a power port. That power port has a little pin that broke off. So
Okay.
when I submitted it, I told them all I need to have is that pin replaced because it's broken, and I do a lot of like long recordings, so I connect it to the wall a lot. So I dropped it off. It took them 10 days for them to get back to me, to them to tell me, yes, this is what needs to be replaced. I'm like, I knew you would. You don't have to do a diagnostics. You don't have to, because I asked you for one thing, the pin. That's the only thing that bothered me. Everything else was okay on the camera. The only thing that bothered me was the pin was broken. It took them 10 days and a nasty email from me, from them to be like, yes, we'll have it. Once they finally responded 10 days later, they responded, we'll have it done by the end of this week. By this Friday, you'll have it back to you so you can work, blah, blah, blah. Friday when came. Fine, I was doing other things. I emailed them again. It literally took them almost another week for them to say, this is the estimate. It's going to be like $400+. And even if you say no, we're still going to charge $175 just for the diagnostics. And so you can send it back. I'm like, diagnostics? If you can't look at the port and know it's broken, I don't know how much more diagnostics you want me to tell you, but I already told you what's wrong with the camera. You didn't have to run $150 or $175 of diagnostics. All right, point taken. I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to pay for it just to get the camera back because I got shit to do. I got jobs coming up.
Yeah, you holding up gigs now.
So now I submit, and I'm like, when can I have my camera back? Oh, so once we process the payment, it's going to be from 7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 business days.
Probably business days. I don't know how these fuckers work. So now I'm like, look, I've had Canon and Panasonic. I've had those cameras break, or I've dropped them and had to get them repaired or something. The longest I've had to wait for a camera to come back to me was 7 days. This is from the time they got it, and then I got a 48-hour turnaround. Hey, this is what's wrong. This is going to be estimated. We want to go or not. Boom. Okay, go. Boom. Come in. 48 hours later. Hey, ready for pickup. Let's go. I came in, paid for it, picked it up. That's it.
A month later, here we
A month
are,
later,
still
here I
waiting.
am, still waiting for them to process the payment so that I can get into the actual delivery of my camera 7 to 10 days.
All right.
So,
Wait, real quick there.
and this is a Sony Pro center, not a Sony like regular repair
Right.
center.
Oh.
See,
Authorized.
this is
Yeah.
what you guys need to understand. The reason why he's so aggravated is because this is his form of income.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, you know, the
Not
camera
just
that he
camera
uses,
porn,
the camera
this
that I
is
use.
money.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, to be perfectly honest with you, you know, let's talk numbers here. If any of you guys, whoever watches, walk into my studio, you guys will see all this crazy equipment that we have here. The reason why it's here is because it's here to generate income.
Yo.
Period. So
Period.
if one of our stuff breaks and we send it out to service, they know that we're not you know, hobbyists trying to get our stuff fixed. No, we're actually here professionals trying to make money. So we need my equipment back to generate more money. So I can make
ASAP.
a living. So if he's waiting a month, holy crap, dude.
Only 10 days only from the time what's wrong when I already told you when I turned it in, because I turned it in person, and I'm like, the port is broken. I need that replaced. They're like, okay, got you. And like, that's what I mean. And that's the frustration that, and now that I have to pay to get all the licenses, an extra $1,500 when I can literally sell the camera for about $4,000 and then get another grand and get the same camera with all the licenses. Imagine what I'm saying right now. I can sell my camera and say, hey, I'll sell my camera right now for $4,000 with all the bells and whistles, the cages for it and everything. Take another grand and buy the same camera or the Mark II with all the licenses cheaper than if I had to go out right now and get all the licenses right now.
That's insane.
That's a dick move.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a dick
wow.
move.
That's bad
Like if you
news.
would have told me $couple $100 for a license, it's fine. $1,500 for a camera that only costs $5,500.
Right.
So you're like, that's
Look,
a dick, and that's why like
Hold on.
this is officially
Right.
my last Sony camera.
You know what's funny?
I ain't mad at you.
But want to hear the funny part? You saying that, I'm almost to the point right now where I could actually say this on camera. I'm pretty sure my Nikon will be my last Nikon camera body. But I might end up going to Sony.
Well, good luck.
More
Just
thing-
don't break it because it's gonna take you forever to get
Yeah,
that
but
shit
see,
back.
now you're making me
Yeah.
nervous just because of that type of situation.
Dude, I've never had, and I've had, like I said, I've had Panasonics either break or get damaged or just stop working, and Canons do the same. Never more than 7 days.
Right.
Never more than 7
Mind you-
days, and
mind
shit
you,
comes back around.
Just for you guys that don't understand, the biggest fear I think for most camera guys is us dropping the camera.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
it
that's,
happens.
that's the one.
It was more.
I mean,
thing.
when what's the most expensive camera drop you've had?
The most
Yours is higher
expensive.
than mine. I definitely know that.
Luckily, the most expensive camera drop, and I'm knocking on wood. Hopefully, it stays like that. Was my
You got
Canon.
wood up here?
Yeah, a hard head at the
At
time.
least he's honest about it.
I would say would be my Canon 5D Mark III with the 24 to 105 lens on it. That was the most expensive
That's,
drop.
Yeah, 'cause that's-
25, another almost 4,000.
Almost around.
Yeah, because that's pricey
You know what's funny?
body,
That's the
pricey
number that I was gonna
lens.
say.
Yeah,
Pricey
that was
body,
probably
pricey
my
lens.
biggest drop. And I've handled Amiras and Lexus and Rads and stuff like that. But that one was just one of those. It didn't lock
Reds are-
correctly and it just fell off the cage.
For me,
Reds are heavy as shit.
Like I'm
Yeah.
actually in the same boat. I dropped the D750 and my 24 to 200 2.8.
So those are
And
big
that's,
lenses.
That's a $2,000 lens and basically a $2,000 body.
Yeah.
So imagine you seeing like a $4,000 piece of equipment that you know once it falls, something will happen to it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like every photographer and videographer's nightmare.
Yeah, it
right
is,
there.
and it's about to happen. That's
Yeah,
why so many
can't
people invest in body cages. So if
Wait.
unless something damages, the body's still
You
working
mentioned that about
condition.
talking about like technical accidents. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Did you ever see the wedding video of the wedding videographer who was walking down the aisle following the bride and groom, and there was a water fountain behind him? Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh my god! Like guy was filming, and I guess at the very entrance of the church, there was like a water fountain. I guess that's where they do the baptisms, but it was low, like maybe this high off the ground. And walking back, trips, his whole body goes, boom, like the whole thing.
But did the hand stay up? Give him
Damn
a-
right
yeah.
it did.
Oh, he's
I
mad.
knew it. I already knew.
As he's falling,
Cameras up.
the camera,
Everything's
he's going like this. His whole body goes in.
cameras up, baby.
Oh, and
Yep.
the funny part
Every
is that,
time.
if I remember right, I saw one camera angle, but I saw pictures. I guess the photographer was next to him. So the photographer got the moments of the guy falling and the bride and groom reacting.
Yeah.
Right? But the videographer recorded the whole thing, including his reaction, and his steady cam was still on point because he was still like pretty accurate. as
Pretty
he
accurate,
fell.
yeah,
He's
I'm
like, you
telling
better
you.
not.
All good.
That's
If
all
I'm
good.
bleeding. I'm wet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Still rolling.
Still rolling. Camera's
Still rolling.
good. We keep
It was
working,
insane.
people.
It was hands down. I gotta show you that video later
That's
on. Man.
crazy.
That one was like, oh my god, I can't believe this actually just happened.
That's crazy.
So where are you going next?
Uh,
As far as
I'm
I
gonna
know
get
you're
the.
uncertain, but
I'm definitely gonna get that Black Magic. Just because of everything that it offers, that Black Magic
Is
gonna
that
be
your
up
first
for.
Black Magic, or you had another one? I
I-
remember somebody had a
I-
Black Magic. I remember trying to figure out who it was.
I never ever buy Black Magic.
rented it?
I rented it, and I've used it ever since its inception when it was like the 4K, 2.5K,
I remember
micro four
everybody.
thirds.
That was a great camera too, man.
The thing about people don't realizing that everybody's big on the GH5S. It actually has the same sensor, so it's not really a micro four thirds, it's a 4/3, so slightly bigger. If it takes any of the metal to bones adapters that you have for the FS5 or for the GH5, you can literally, if it is the same sensor, which it's already been said it's the same sensor as a GH5S, you can take their speed booster micro four thirds to Canon, and it'll take that camera and put it in between the full frame and the Super 35.
Nice.
So then
Nice.
after that, you're like, I'm
Yeah.
good.
but
Yeah.
would that
So
be
we-
your replacement for the FS5?
Dude, that shoots in raw internally.
Oh well, yeah, never mind.
Dude, that like,
That's the thing.
and it's like,
With while small.
wow, small.
That-
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the
Touch
thing about the Black Magic. Black Magic was always felt like it was intended for one thing and one thing only. It's for like a purist cinematographer.
Pure,
kind
purest cinema capture in the,
And
the cheapest sense
It
possible
is.
for
And they
it.
did.
Yeah,
Remember
'cause
when it
the-
first came out, everyone was like, "What the hell is this thing?"
And it actually took off because a lot of people use it. A lot of people have used it on commercials.
Yeah.
The Ursa Mini was a big update. And this camera is definitely gonna sell out quickly. It's gonna be
Oh,
the
yeah.
go-to camera for a while.
Oh hell yeah.
Because the original, if you don't believe it, the original Black Magic Pocket Cinema camera that came out about 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, around that time frame. If you were to try to buy it online before the announcement came out, you would still run around $800 to $1,000 to get it. And mind you, when it came out, it was like $12,000. So 5 years later, it still kept its value because it still had that cinematic quality people were looking for video wise, and it shot raw, you know. So
And that's the thing. 4K cameras nowadays is like when 4K came out, it was top of the line. But 4K is now pretty much the standard
for video in the
Right.
video.
So
family.
right now it's like, listen, those cameras are still good for now, but expect 6K,
Yeah.
8K stuff to come through.
And I mean, and then like always, NAB had a lot of new technology for lights, new lenses. Not so much new lenses. Everybody just announced a new size. Sigma and the Cinema made their 14 millimeter. A couple companies coming out with like their
14 millimeter Sigma.
cinema.
Oh, cinema.
Yeah, they're all cinema.
Yeah. I think they have some art ones.
They do have the art one.
They,
Actually.
like maybe like end of last year, they launched a slew of just primes.
Art primes, yeah, and
Art
then
primes,
for the
ranging
E-mount
from
also.
whatever range you need.
Yeah.
I think it was from like 12 to like 105, something crazy.
I
zooms.
think the other bigger announcement though, Shogun, which is a recorder company, came out with a couple of recorders.
Yes.
The biggest announcement though, I think, which is going to turn the industry on its head on a positive, is the introduction by Apple and Atomos their ProRes RAW
For Final Cut support.
for just
Well, just
Final
period.
Cut
Yeah,
capture. Because so when you take pictures, you can either do RAW or JPEG.
Right.
Video is the same way. Depending on your camera, most cameras, unless they're high-end cameras, only do a compressed MOV, MP4. So think of that as a JPEG version of video. And then the RAW version, just like in RAW photo, RAW video takes up a lot of space and it is cumbersome.
Out of curiosity, because I don't know this one. I don't do video like that, but you do. I know a raw image is like 55 megs at least.
Yes.
Okay, how much for like 1 minute of video? Is raw.
On average, depending on which camera,
Yeah,
which
they-
sensor,
Yeah.
on
Let's say
average, okay, so let's go off one of the newer cameras. It's the Canon,
Let's say a minute of video or something.
the new Canon C200.
Okay.
Their internal RAW, and their internal RAW is still light RAW.
Okay.
It's about a gig a minute.
Woo! You better have a good computer to process all that. Bro.
So like, you know,
That's crazy.
if you actually no, I technically take about a gig a second. So like a 250 gigabyte card gets you about 11 minutes and
That
stuff
shit
like
gave me
that.
a headache just
Dude,
thinking
we're
about
here,
it.
we're here, ladies. We're
And
like,
that's a light RAW. That's not even
That's not
it's
even
a
like
light,
full heavy duty.
So-
that's insane.
What
dope.
ProRes does is basically take that raw image and
save it.
compress it, but without losing the details. So
Yeah.
think of it a normal compression. Let's say if you take a huge WAV file, a sound file, and then you try to make an MP3 or 4. What happens is this is the WAV file. It's 5 fingers. When you do compression MP, you usually lose a couple fingers to make the compression work. So you'll lose some highs, some mids. So it goes from 5 fingers to 3 fingers. Video, same thing. You lose dynamic range, color, spacing to play around in post-production. So to get something that's about 5 gigabytes a second to fit into something smaller, you're going to have to take some of the information out.
That was actually a great layman's
Now-
version of like.
The way this
compression,
compression
yeah.
works and also Red Kodak works is this compression, instead of taking out the fingers, it's going to squeeze it to the size of 3 fingers, even though there's 5 in there. So you still get all that information
So you're
to
squeezing
pull with
it and still
later.
getting
So,
more.
so it kind of rearranged the information. So
The way it stacks it, so you can still get it all
stack it instead
without
of
losing
losing
it
it.
as
Yeah.
much. So that's the innovation, because now you're going to be having shooting on cards that are less expensive, save up less space, and still get the quality of shooting raw.
Yep.
So that's pretty much going to change the game as it is.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
until now, the only company that really had something like that was Red, with the Red Kodak 3-to-1 compression, 4-to-1. Like they were the only ones that had that. That's why they were so big, because it was still raw. It was just compressed for them to have enough information. Everybody else who shot raw, they shot to these huge recorders that cost thousands of dollars, and the media cost thousands of dollars.
Everybody got that.
So now, I think that's the big change. The big thing that made everybody happy at NAB was like ProRes RAW is coming.
That's not only Final Cut.
Not only Final Cut, you're gonna dump it into any editing system. I mean, DaVinci's gonna be using it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right now, the only one using it outside of Apple is Atomos, so it can take
With the recorder.
the other recorder. The other thing is that it actually takes a signal, and right now it's up to 12-bit. Atomos says that in the future it might be able to do 16-bit compression in ProRes RAW, which that means you're going from like billions of color options to trillions of color options. So like that image is gonna look beautiful, great, and amazing. So
that's literally talking about the quality of the image.
quality
that you guys
image.
are gonna actually
Here's
be
the
able to see.
thing.
Make it look perfect.
Once companies start implementing this into their standard, like if Canon does it to their C200 or C400, you're gonna be able to do ProRes RAW on your camera. You're gonna be saving so much space that it's okay. Compact Flash is gonna be like you're gonna be okay recording that to that. If the Blackmagic takes this ProRes and puts it into the new Blackmagic 4K Pocket, that's it. It's a wrap.
That's the one.
It's a wrap.
Because
you are set for a good time.
That's it. That's
just
it.
That is it.
Just for the options alone of what you can do.
What you can do. I think that was the biggest thing, like the options alone, and that's the biggest gift this year from NAB came from them. That was it.
You know, within like the past year, with the amount of technology cameras have been putting out, I really think like he said, he's switching from one brand to another. I'm most likely will be doing the same. I think we're not going to be the only pro level people that's going to be switching brands.
No,
this
definitely.
year specifically.
A lot of
Because
people
before they
left.
were loyalists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This,
Before they were loyalists.
between the last 6 months, a lot of people they either left Sony, went back to Canon,
Yes.
or
A
they
lot.
left Panasonic and Canon and went to Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
People
There's
have been
really
jumping
nowhere
around.
else to go.
And it's just it's dependent on like your needs and what you want
Yeah.
and what you can
Because
afford.
at the end of the day, it doesn't. None of the stuff matters. It's all options for you to make the best choice of the best app to utilize the best tool
Yeah.
for you.
And that's what it comes down to. You know what? You guys, I don't know. I think I saw it this week or last week. No, there was a documentary that I'm pretty sure, for the life of me, it was the history of Nikon and what happened to Nikon.
Oh my God, what didn't happen tonight?
Well, they broke down a reason as to why they believe Nikon is where it's headed to now, and they were talking about the history of Nikon and how they stuck to their ways with like their mounts and everything like that, but how they were very innovative when they started pushing digital and basically came out with the first digital camera.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, Canon was obviously the main competitor with Nikon, but Canon was going for the tried and true method, and let's keep on making our film cameras more and more accurate. But then when it came time for them to catch up, the roles basically got reversed. Where Nikon was like, all right, well now we are the digital masters, like we're gonna keep on doing our tried and true. But by that time, Canon was actually pushing their what else can we do to it? What else can we add on to it? How else can we make it better? And Canon, while Nikon was like being happy treading where they were going, Canon was actually going the more innovative route. And it got to the point where now people are like, okay, Nikon, what do you have? Nothing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Honestly,
and that's kind of where it's at now. And then the newcomers came into play, like Sony and them.
Panasonic
And
and, they just,
Panasonic, and now everyone's
and now
like,
Fuji's coming back with their
Yeah.
X2.
Dude,
So
dude,
it's
was
like-
it FHD1 something like that?
Something.
I ain't gonna front. I want to look at that.
to me, yeah, it's a size
Yeah,
like
'cause they
40
said
something megapixels.
yeah,
That's
'cause they
pretty
like
nice.
it's-
No, yeah,
it's-
40 megapixels.
and it's good at both photo and video too.
Yeah,
so
so yeah.
Yeah, see, if you don't know, Fuji, that was another announcement. They actually had a 40 megapixel digital camera full frame, wasn't it?
But see, and then you pull back the history of the dinosaurs. Kodak was in front of Fuji
Everybody.
forever.
Yes.
Forever.
And Kodak actually had the opportunities because they had some patents on actually trying to get digital negatives. Like
Yep.
they could have been the forefront of capturing digital negatives.
Yep.
Like the CDNG format that you use for raw, like a digital negative format, they could have created it where it could have been something else.
Yep.
They could have been the forefront of Apple
And they
ProRes,
chose not to.
and they
Oh
chose
my
not
God.
to.
If
And
you
they
watch my
they're
whole business
barely
book, that was
coming
it.
back right now. They had to literally sell all their patents to stay afloat and to keep their name. And now they're just they're just like crawling back to the battlefield, wounded and almost dying.
He's
But
like, we're coming out with cryptocurrencies. Like, what the fuck?
fuck that cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's kind of. Matter of fact, I even have a couple of Kodak's vintage cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they had the opportunity. They
Yeah,
had the
it-
opportunity. They missed.
They did nothing with it.
And that's a great example. Like Kodak was the guys that they guys were masters of the film world. Like,
Film world, literally
period.
both video and
Yeah,
photography.
it was insane. And they felt that they were happy and we were tried and true while other people were being innovative.
Yeah.
And when that happens, they felt, no, we got it. There's no way film's gonna leave. And then the digital world.
I mean, it's true. It's never gonna leave, but you're also never gonna have the market you once had.
No.
Yeah.
You have to adjust for that. You have to you have to diversify. If this was with your bread and butter, and this is no longer gonna be bread and butter, it's gonna be like cornbread or like even like just just
That's
little
bread,
crumbs.
yeah.
Well, you gotta find a new bread and butter.
Yeah, you know
you
what?
can't eat crumbs. You can't live
The
off
free
that.
bread at
You,
Red Lobster.
you mentioning that now.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you
free
think there's any
biscuits.
companies out right now who's right now is being innovative? Let's say Sony right now is being like, I think they're really
Well, they're
trying to
getting
get
to a
out
point where Canon was,
there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now the question is,
and Canon is already
Who's-
they made up for their mistakes, so they're going a different route, trying to like pull
who
back.
do you think is on the come up where they're gonna be like, whoa, look at these guys? Because right now for me,
Fuji.
Fuji,
Fuji is.
that camera right there was
I
like,
think a lot of people there are people on it, and then there are a lot of people that's going to be like, "Whoa, y'all can do that too? Yeah, or we can do this, and then we have this as well."
that's
Yeah.
who I'm thinking right now that Fuji's gonna be on the
Will
come
they
up.
prove us right? Who knows?
The only thing that might
Because not a lot of players in the field.
Yeah, there's not a lot of players in the field, but the other thing that people are getting tired of right now, at least in the video world that I keep hearing complaints about, is having to change lens mounts. So they want lenses that they can keep between EF or Sony E mount and PL, like as long as they
Like
can
a
switch back from
universal
those two.
A
Exactly.
universal mount would be cool, but then
Yeah, I don't understand why the universal mount never took.
I don't.
Like,
I
that
see,
should have been like
it
standard.
has to be like some patent or something that where companies aren't giving that up.
I
For some
think-
strange
I
reason.
think-
Dude, it's
Like
for
I said,
real.
like you said, it should have been universal mount a long time ago.
Long
Like,
time
why are
ago.
we doing this shit?
I mean, I think the reason why there's no universal mounts, which was, if you really think about it, that's probably the holy grail of
Well,
like.
technically,
video.
there is
I
one
mean,
universal mount, micro four thirds, because a lot of companies
That's
all share micro four
Yeah,
thirds,
yeah.
but they
Yeah,
have different brand
but one-
cameras.
yeah.
Exactly. See, the thing is that the reason why I always thought of it is because back in the day, and not more now, but back in the day, Nikon, Canon, and all the camera companies back then, they didn't just make the camera bodies; they also made the lenses.
Yeah.
So they made it interchangeable for their stuff only. And the last thing they would want is Nikon to make a lens that'll mount it to Canon.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
But again,
I think that's why.
They didn't foresee that there would come a time where people would choose and pick. Like, I like the image off the sensor, but I like to pair it with this lens because that's
Right.
what I like.
Honestly, for me, I mean, as a photographer, I think for me, I don't even look at like the Nikon lenses or even Canon lenses. Right now, for me, it's the Sigma art lens.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, companies like Sigma saw that, look, we can make lenses for all you motherfuckers.
Yeah, it really was.
Michael Four Thirds, E-mount,
Might
Fuji,
be better than
Canon.
your own.
It might be better than your own. Just try us out.
I know I mentioned this before, but I want to mention this again. I mean, I remember when we were talking about the come up of Sony cameras, and I said I'm not gonna even look at Sony seriously until I start seeing third-party lens competitors
Yes,
saying.
you did say that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And Sigma
I said-
was like,
I said,
yeah.
yeah.
You say, Carlos? We
It-
got
th-
you.
This is what it comes down to. It. I do not take a camera company seriously like that until I see a third-party lens manufacturer saying, "Yo, we need to start making lenses for that."
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think they'll be making lenses for Fuji anytime soon because Fuji only
Which
has
is
like
true.
2 cameras.
But you know
For
what?
now.
That's how
And-
Sony
and
started.
for
too.
now.
No.
I
For
think
now.
wait, wasn't it that Sony 6300 or something?
What?
When I said that,
Dude,
when that Sony camera, the one that you got,
Probably 63, yeah.
yeah, like when that came out, I was like, "Whoa, this is a great camera." But damn, I know Sony's doing their lenses, but no, I'm not gonna trust them
Sony-
until I see somebody.
There's nothing wrong with the lenses. Just
Yeah, there
for
is.
the
There's nothing
price.
wrong with them.
There's a lot
but
of
again,
wrong
that's
with
when.
them.
Oh, really?
But see,
yeah.
no, that's the
for
thing.
video guys, there's a lot
Oh,
wrong with
right.
the
But see,
lenses.
that's the thing. Until I see a third-party manufacturer saying, "Yo, you know what? These guys got something." That's when I'm like, now I can pay attention.
Too fancy for
And it's not all their
camera.
lenses, just some of their lenses I can't
No,
stand.
you know what? It's kind of like showing this. It's kind of like competitors, like the lens manufacturers saying, "You know what?
You're a contender.
You're a contender.
Pretty much
You actually have a chance.
Donning them a
Right.
contender. Let's make
Right.
let's
You
make
made
them
it to
fight.
the pros.
Let
You know
them
what I mean?
fight.
That's what it is. Because I'm sorry, like as a professional photographer or anything like that, there's only a certain level of edge that you can get over your fellow photographers and stuff like that. And sometimes it could just come right down to the lenses because it might not even be the body. No more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an 85 millimeter 1.8 compared to an 85 millimeter 1.4. It's almost insignificant.
It is.
But right for that pro photographer who wants it clean as glass possible, you're gonna go for the 1.4.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 1.8 is just as good. There's no customer that will look at it and tell you the difference.
They're gonna be like,
There's not.
shot me with 1.8.
Yeah, I
Thought you had 1.4, motherfucker.
yeah, I'm like you can't tell, bro.
She's
It's a
not,
lot.
she's not pro unless you have
Like,
1.4 in your
like,
bag.
like, you can't tell me that, you know. But the difference between 1.8 and 1.4 is like $800 or something like that.
Well, yeah, you
You know
know,
what I mean? So it's like-
just like what's the difference between range 4.0, 4.6, 30, 40 grand, cocksucker beat it.
There you go. That's it. That's exactly what it is. So I mean, I guess the point we're trying to make is like, listen, there's enough competition out there, but there's competition coming up too.
Yeah.
And when that Fuji was announced, yeah, I think a lot of us was like, wait, what? Like, I want to see this thing now.
Now here's the question. Two questions actually for you.
Okay.
First question.
Okay.
You're thinking Sony. Which route are you going?
He's going
Or are you waiting?
A7 III.
Oh, wait, am I gonna wait?
Yeah.
I might wait. I might wait just to see what else.
A7S3 is next.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I just.
But that's like low light. Well, yeah.
Well,
low
see,
light.
this is the thing. I don't need a low light camera because I don't shoot.
So the
low light
A7 III is
That's
great
what
for
I
you.
was going to say. That's what I was saying. The A7 III or the F7R3.
Right. That's
would
kind
be-
of that's the thing for me. Again, there's so many camera
Oh,
bodies
what are
now.
you saving? Yeah.
There's so many camera bodies now that you can get very specific as to why I want this camera. You know what I mean? I don't need low light capability. I don't. I don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But what I do need is a camera that has a very, very, very good sensor. Low light doesn't matter to me. I keep my ISO at basement bottom numbers. That's how I always do it because I hit it with flashes.
Yeah.
That's my situation. Now another photographer or another videographer situation, you're definitely gonna need low light ISO quality kind of shots. Then you're gonna need different type of camera than I do. That's what it comes down to it. So
Maybe.
for my situation, will definitely be different than yours. So nowadays we have enough cameras where you can make that decision as long as you're smart enough to actually do some research. That's pretty much it because a lot of people still don't do research properly.
No, nobody does.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean for me, I think that's it for me. I think if I'm gonna go Sony, it's definitely gonna be probably one of the R's. But I really am gonna.
Not the regular 3?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. Not right now.
Based off what you've seen. From what I've seen,
See, like based off what I've seen, I'm trying to figure out a situation where I can use a low light capability with my flashes, which it is possible, but I want to see what I'm going to be able to do it with. You know what I mean? Like what can I use it for?
well, creatively.
Exactly,
Yeah,
creatively.
Yeah.
So
No, definitely.
I don't really think I found anything like that. I know Omar, like with a lot of your video stuff. I mean, I've seen your work. Your stuff. You're a sucker for like nice clean shots, but I've seen you go dramatic.
It also depends on what you're shooting. Sometimes you
Yeah.
need to be lit, and then sometimes like if
It's not
it
lit.
depends your style. If it's not lit, you're gonna do some dark, harsh. The same thing for photographers. Some photographers like the high contrast, the shadows. They like to do like landscape or like street photography. So then you might need a camera that needs those advantages in low light. And if you're completely a studio guy or whatever you're gonna shoot is always gonna be lit properly,
You won't.
it won't matter. So you can probably shoot that shit like on the Sony 5100. It won't matter because you're lit, so it's gonna come out great anyway. So
Yep.
Exactly. So there's that.
there's
Okay.
that.
Second question.
Go.
Since you mentioned Fuji, are
Okay.
you waiting to see? Are you going to hold off for them, or are you still going
I don't
to
think
probably
he's
make
doing
make a purchase?
He's not gonna do Fuji.
If I'm gonna pick, you know what's funny? If I'm gonna pick, if you ask me right now,
We did. We just asked you right now.
no. If you ask me right now, any camera on the market right now that you might want to choose from, what would you try to shoot?
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
look for the used Pentax medium format.
Yeah.
I asked you Fiji. I asked you Fuji.
Fiji water
No, Fiji
or-
water is great. I asked you Fuji or Sony B. Stick to the court. No,
Yeah,
stop.
stick to-
This is sort
If
of
I had to choose
Congress-
right now,
congressional
if
stuff.
I had to choose right now between the two, I wouldn't choose them, and I would actually say, give me the used Pentax.
Really?
45 megapixel medium format camera, bro.
How much?
Like brand new, it was like 4,000. Now used, it's probably like 2. You know what I mean?
Then why don't you just get that?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, yeah, because A7 III, you're paying.
what was the name of that camera? Anybody remember that? It was
Pentax 640.
Yeah, because A7 III is $2,000. Anyway.
645,
So
right?
I might get it.
Was it 645?
I think that's what it was.
Do
Hold
you
on.
have?
Yeah.
Do you need like to beef up your computer to process?
Yeah, you do.
No.
That Pentax?
No. Oh no. Why?
Well, so you're gonna have to have a whole new fucking studio system. If you're gonna have to have Pentax.
It
That
wasn't
shit
this
is huge as hell, bro.
No, not that one.
It's like 120 gigs, right? A raw file size.
No, it was no, it wasn't in the gigs. It was.
I mean megabytes. Sorry, my bad. 120 megabytes.
it was something like that.
It's huge.
But
the
there was.
file size is huge for
How
one
old-
single image,
How
bro.
old do you think his computer is? It's not that old.
I know.
I don't know. When you start opening those
No,
big,
was it this one?
even when you start opening like the 40 like a medium format camera, like the ones that the digital ones that do like 40 gigs or 45 megapixels.
Yeah,
Dude, even those slow down your computer sometimes because those are some big images to process.
I believe
Yeah.
it.
There was a Oh God, what was it? There's a saying that if you're gonna buy a digital medium format camera, the first thing you need to understand is the infrastructure that goes behind it, because you need a computer that will process the living hell out of those pictures. Because if you don't have that, you could take great pictures on camera, but you only be able to look at it that way.
Yeah. So like if you're moving like from a DSLR to shoot on a 4K camera, you better hope your camera, your software can like do that editing and processing. Because now you're gonna either working in proxy or sitting there for hours while that shit renders and fucking timeline just
645Z is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I haven't tried. I'm gonna try it soon. I haven't tried 4K.
Try it, bro. You should shoot everything in 4K if you can. So they say.
That was the plan, but like I need another glass. I need another
everything 4K.
When I originally bought it, that was the plan. But I'm like, I could probably use some better glass before I really go 4K.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, glass is what makes a difference on camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Yo, how did this end up becoming a podcast? This ended up becoming a photography and video podcast.
Because it's NAB, we're talking about NAB.
That's
It's
why.
video,
NAB,
photos.
boy.
Right now, I was like, technically, wasn't that the one talking point we just went off on it?
Yeah. I mean, other than that, NAB has cameras, lights, it had drones, it had new gimbals. Nothing too impressive. Where like ProRes or the Blackmagic camera or the new DaVinci Resolve.
Oh yeah.
The updates on that app.
One
the good
day-
thing is if you buy that camera, you get the full version of that for free, which normally costs $300. So
yeah, one day I would love to use DaVinci, give DaVinci a shot. I'm like,
that does require a lot of processing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm like.
It's a big process.
One day I'll have a computer that can rock out. I put that thing on the Surface once, Surface Pro 3. The thing was like
chugging away.
I'll see you next year.
click. I was like, I'll delete this shit ASAP.
That's it. We're stopping it right now. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait for that. What's the second talking point on our notes?
Second talking point is
Incredibles 2 trailer.
Incredibles 2 trailer.
I have not seen it.
You never seen
That's the
Incredibles?
show. Thanks for joining us.
Pretty much, guys.
Actually, you know what's
It's a-
funny? Wait, did we talk about the Meg last week? I hope we did.
We
Yes.
did, and we said we're not gonna watch it because we're respectable, intelligent individuals.
You know what? No, hold on. You know
He's
what?
like a respectable.
No, I showed it to my wife this
She
week.
thought it was a joke. She thought it was a April Fool joke.
Yo,
Hey, man, like, babe, trying to give me April's Fool, all the latest
hold on.
shit.
Hold
Fuck
on.
out of here, babe.
wait, she was like this, right? At the end of the trailer, she saw it and she was like, "Damn, that was big." I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "Okay," and she walked away. That was her whole reaction. That was the whole reaction to the trailer.
That's all you could
That's
say.
And I was like,
There's nothing that says. That's just like how like this is it has a really good cast despite the non-attractiveness of the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, you know
That's
what? When
solid.
it comes to like,
Yeah.
I
you
just
know,
don't understand.
yeah, when it comes to like shark movies,
But it's also gonna be one of those
is-
movies full of those like ridiculous fucking puns. It almost feels like it's gonna be a pun movie where like puns are gonna be left and right. Remember when they did Anaconda? That shit was full of puns. I'm like, all right, stop
Hold
the
on, time
goddamn
out, time out,
puns.
time out.
Oh, that was another one that had
Time
a
out.
great cast.
Wait, wait. Don't go any further than that. If you haven't seen Anaconda, right? YouTube the trailer right now. Like, it really was. You know what's funny? I actually saw it
Cool J
again.
was in that one too, right?
No.
yeah,
it's
that's
Ice
no,
Cube.
Ice Cube.
I was like, which
okay,
rapper?
say.
I was like, which rapper was in that one? It was Ice Cube. That was a very hilarious movie, dude. If you see it again,
Yeah.
I was actually YouTubing some clips of it maybe about a month and a half ago, and the graphics are like wow.
Our original.
Speaking of graphics, I was watching. Actually, this morning I was by my dad's house. I was watching Total Recall. I was like, wow.
The old
The
one?
original.
The original, yeah.
Oh my
I'm not a
God.
Colin Farrell
I always
fan, so
loved
I
it.
have no point in seeing.
I
the
love the
sequel.
old one, but after watching it like later in life, I feel like, wow, I can't believe I fell for that. Like the
You know what?
CGI was like, wow.
Well,
CGI.
well, most of it, yeah, because it was mostly practical.
Yeah, well,
Practical,
Like
yeah.
the pulling the note, the thing
that
out
was
the
a
nose.
great
I'm like, oh, they got a good cast of his face and taking the helmet off. I'm watching. I'm like, why did he malfunction? I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was cool scene, but I'm just like,
There was no reason why.
yeah,
it
it was just something to do.
It was. You know what?
Bad catalyst.
When it comes to Total Recall, when it comes to like 80s action movies, that's still probably one of the ones that held up better than most. Because there's a lot of them that
Yeah, a lot of
did
them
not
don't.
hold up.
Maybe
I know.
this might be another April Fool's joke or something. I heard somebody talking that, or some buzz that they're gonna remake Rambo. Anybody heard that?
Yo, that is
I
never
didn't-
gonna
I didn't
happen.
hear
Maybe it's one of those
There
like
is
jokes or
no
something.
way that's gonna happen.
I actually, in the last Rambo, I enjoyed it. It was bloody as shit.
Four,
It
which
was.
is like
No, John Rambo.
John
John
Rambo.
Rambo.
Oh, when he goes up,
When he
like
was older?
Yeah.
That was bloody as shit.
Dude, did you see it? That That was like, yo, you know what? We're gonna give you exactly what you guys wanted to see.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
You know, it was like Sylvester Stallone saying, you know what? Guys want to see guys movie. Let's chop some body parts.
Yeah,
It really was
bullets
that.
flying and body parts flying. Like, what the fuck are you
Yeah, it was.
shooting him with?
Yeah, it was insane. It was intense. If you haven't seen it, yeah. And the funny part is that if you guys seen First Blood, obviously we've seen it. If you haven't seen
I've
First
seen it.
Blood,
Wow.
the first,
That's
Rambo
technically the
movie,
first Rambo movie. Yeah.
it was actually more like a drama / thriller.
Yeah.
It really
It was
was.
almost like The Fugitive.
Yeah.
Made in that
Yeah.
time.
Wow, you know what? The
Yeah.
Fugitive was a really good.
Yeah,
one.
that was a really good movie too.
That one held up actually pretty well. That one actually held up well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got good drama and good story. You ain't got to worry about action and stuff aging poorly over time.
Yeah.
Right. You know, a movie that actually aged extremely well, and I saw this just recently again, and it still holds up, is Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, that's gonna be
again,
epic, bro. That's gonna be those
again,
classics. You
there's
can't.
drama.
Yeah,
Drama,
but it
you
holds
gotta
up.
worry about action.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. It holds up so well. It's still just as creepy, and I haven't seen 7 in a while, but I think 7 holds up.
Seven holds up.
Holds up.
Seven
Yeah,
holds
holds
up.
up
Yeah,
very
7
well.
holds up.
Yeah.
7 holds up. Yeah.
Because 7 is not 20 years old.
They're not like Terminator, Fast and Furious. 10 years from now, those
No,
movies are gonna be
I think
like
older.
looking at those movies like, God damn, how the
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
did I like this piece of
Like-
shit?
Again, that I think that's what it is. When you have a great cast and you have a great story,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that aging. You could worry about, all right, well, this joke was based off that time, but as far as like
Exactly.
the main core of the movie, when
Exactly.
you start getting the action and effects and different things,
Right.
Yeah.
those don't age well over time, unless
It
they're
don't.
Terminator 2.
Exactly.
You know what? Terminator 2 aged pretty damn well.
They did pretty, pretty
Like, some
damn
of the
well.
graphics
But
you-
then they actually because they actually pushed the boundaries on
Yeah.
the
Right.
on the-
Right.
Wow.
You know what I was thinking about when it comes to that? Do you think the movie like Avatar is gonna age well? Because if you remember,
Never saw it.
you never saw it.
No.
It's when the blue Smurfs raped Native America and then they create a new species.
You know what's funny?
being.
That's a really weird nutshell
It's
version of it. But
Dances of Wolves with space.
Yes,
it is.
it is.
It
That's
is.
what
It's
it
exactly
was.
that's his rules in space.
Actually, what's his name? James Cameron said that a couple
Yeah,
times.
but do you think that one is gonna hold up well in 20 years from now? 'Cause
Well,
that's
anything.
what worries
I
me.
think so because not so much because of the CGI. CGI is always going to get better, even though I had amazing CGI, but more so because of the story, the idea of
Well,
colonization and like taking something from people because you want it for a profit and they just don't want to give it to you,
You know
because
what?
that's not their
I
tradition.
I think you might be right on that
Kind
effect.
of Andrew Jackson.
Well, no, I mean if you look
Yeah.
at stories that have that kind of premise, let's go with Dances with Wolves. Let's go with Last of the Mohicans. Those are
Kevin Costner actually danced with a wolf.
yeah, exactly, yeah, pretty much. But if you look at it, those kind of movies, even though yes they've gotten older over time,
Yeah.
the story and everything is still pretty strong.
Yeah, strong. Yeah.
Because
You know what I
you want
mean?
to bring up, I'm gonna bring up something random. I was thinking about. I haven't seen it in a while.
Bullet Test Excellent Adventure.
Arlington Road.
Yo, people don't understand that movie. Have you seen that
I
movie?
don't think I have.
You need to see that
Wait, is-
movie.
is that
Tim
what that-
Robbins? Is it
Tim
no-
Robbins, Jeff Bridges, and Joan Cusack.
Yes.
Wait,
John
Arlington Road?
Cusack. Yo,
Yeah.
dude,
Arlington Road.
Yo.
dude,
Sounds familiar.
dude, you need to see that movie, bro. If you haven't seen it, you need to see that movie. I
Arlington
don't
Road.
even want to ruin it.
They
for you.
just pulled it out like.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch Arlington Road, everybody. Book report due
yeah,
next week.
It shows how sadistic a modern man can be given the right amount of time and planning. I think that's the best way to say it, because it's done extremely well, dude. It's one of those movies that you're like, whoa, yeah, wow, did that just happen? Not gonna ruin it for you.
No, you can tell me.
No, I'm not gonna ruin it for you. It's like 99 at least.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
Arlington Road.
check it out. Definitely check it out.
What's it? Lost of Space. I liked it.
I didn't see it yet.
I liked it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of, like, the only thing that pisses me off.
99, you're right.
99. Damn, that was a
The only
good
thing that
guess.
pisses me, I mean, the concept that they did was good. I like the concept. I like where the story was going. The only thing that pissed me off
Ending.
is how this family is supposed to be so smart, but at times they're so fucking stupid. Like, you can't be this smart
and have no
quali-
sense of logic.
Yes, yes.
A lot of people have been trying to pull that off lately.
and then the whole premise of this, one of the main storylines is communicate, and then you find out these little things, but you don't tell anybody else. You just run off and try to solve it. Like, that's the worst thing you could do in a movie. It's supposed to be all about communication because you need each other's support. Then you
Yeah.
find out a fact, and then instead of sharing it, you try to solve it yourself, and you're like, why? Why? You're smart. You're like That's the thing that pissed me off a lot
Well,
about
you know,
the
people
show.
can be I guess they're saying most people are book smart and lack.
But see, like,
You can't do that if you're gonna go in space.
Yeah,
because they get the.
yeah, you're gonna die.
You can't be that if you're like all these guys are qualified because they're smart, book smart, and logical, and like thinking on your feet. Like you're just.
you want to try to get this right.
That's what she said.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna have to find it for you guys. But there's a daily radio talk show about cars. It's been going on for years, and people could call, ask random questions, talk about cars, and talk about the regular stuff, right?
Okay.
An astronaut calls from outer space to the radio show.
All right.
And said,
So they got a job or something?
Hey guys, my American-made vehicle is making rattling noises at 17,000 miles an hour. Can you guys help me out? It's like remember how like Elon Musk did? He threw the car into outer space for like a really good promotion.
Allegedly, yeah.
That was a great promotion.
It's alright. I don't know if it was great.
No, that was
dick
really
move.
What?
Dick
The Elon Musk threw my car into space thing?
Yeah, like
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to talk about that in a minute because it was a great photo op, but damn, like there was you know why he did that? You know why he did that, right?
because he's a dick.
No. Well, no, because you had to fill out forms and explain as to why you're sending this vehicle into outer space. Do you know why?
Because he wants to pollute the air like they're polluting the oceans right now.
No. Really? Why? What was his actual
That's
reason?
my only reason.
No, he was testing the payload capacity of the rocket, and he needed to fire the rocket with an actual weight. What in typical standard form, what they do is that they basically make a concrete block of the weight that you need it for and put it in the damn thing. But he was like, "Where's the same as my car? Let me throw the car up there." like that's really the nutshell.
So
version.
literally, he's the first.
Yeah, it really was.
So
his car.
he's literally the first motherfucker littering in space. Could somebody get that motherfucking ticket? No,
Oh
who's
my
gonna
God,
pick
there's
it
so
up?
much
Are you gonna go pick it up?
Dude,
I ain't picking that shit up.
No, but every time they
there is a
jettison and
lot
drop
of
stuff
dumb
off,
stuff
that's
up
all
there.
just sitting
There's
there.
a lot of stupid
Yeah,
stuff.
and
up
eventually
there, bro.
the space around our
station.
planet is gonna start looking like the fucking oceans we have now. And
No,
then what?
it'll
You
look-
don't think so?
No, hold on. Let me
Sure.
finish explaining. If you haven't seen the movie Wall-E, it'll probably look like that.
I don't want space to look like that.
How uplifting.
Yeah, that's
Yo.
like really like dick move there, Musk.
Yo, you know what? Like it was kind of one of those where you're like, really, dude, really. But going back, that literally an astronaut did that, I guess, to try to promote NASA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was like,
You don't
okay,
need to promote it. It's like it's out there.
yeah. Well, you know what? NASA's got to keep a front.
Something.
For those for those who believe.
Oh, you're a flat earther?
Nah,
Nah, he just believes it was Scorsese
You know
shot
what?
in a studio
Wait,
in
hold
Vegas.
up.
or some shit.
I gotta go on this. You guys ever talk to a flat earther?
Nah,
Why would I do
I don't waste my time.
Yo, it's mind blowing, bro. I've spoken to a couple by accident, and I'm like, wait, I was like, explain this to me.
A couple of flat earthers or a couple who were flat earthers?
No, a couple of.
Oh, okay. That's something.
That would have
that's
been
weird.
even worse.
That's
No,
what
'cause that meant
oh
there
my
would have
God,
been a
bless
flat
you
earther
for
baby.
trying. He's like,
It was
raise our flat earth
dude,
baby.
you know what? Like I'm a man of sound logic, right? And I'm really not one to debate anything about it, right? It's as a photographer, right? I was thinking about this one day, and it popped in my head. I was like, have you ever seen like whenever they do a space launch? Whenever they do a space launch, there's always that photographer that does the time lapse and you see the streak going into the sky and stuff like that, right? That has nothing to do with flat earth theory. It's just photographers.
That's to do with the rotation of the Earth as the picture's going up. Yeah.
Right.
You know.
But if you ever seen the path that it takes, it goes all the way up, then it comes arcing down.
Yeah.
Right. I want a flat earther to explain that to me, because the reason why it's pointing down is
That's easy. It's
Bro.
all the magnets in China that pulled it towards you. Boom, you're welcome.
yeah, and you know what? They'll probably believe that more on the fact that it's actually
course,
hit
bro.
orbit. Yeah, because these I mean, as a photographer, I'm like, wow, you know what? You shot that for yourself, but you literally could show that.
Look, we have a whole population of people in Utah who believe that Jesus Christ, a Palestinian Jewish man of like indigenous descent, literally ended up there somehow, speaking English.
For the record, the South
So
Park
I'm like,
episode of that
what
was
the
amazing.
fuck is? How is that possible? Oh yeah,
He's talking about Mormonism.
is that what it-
The South Park episode of that was amazing. Was it Mormonism?
I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
I just know there's people
wait,
out there
have
who
you ever
believe
seen-
that
Have you
shit.
ever seen the South Park episode about that?
No.
They
I've
made
watched
it-
South Park,
they
but I
made
don't
a
think
South Park episode where they basically told the story of the Church of Mormon, and as the story
Nice.
was going, at the bottom they were like, "We are not making this up. This is what they believe in," and they literally kept on rolling that subtitle throughout the whole episode. This would be like, we're not making this up. It literally
Like,
is.
this is-
And because it aired, I honestly believe that they didn't complain about it because like you can't sue something that's fact. Like so this is
Exactly.
what you really
This is-
believe.
this is-
You
yeah.
can't sue somebody for your
Yo,
shit.
it really was one of those where you're like, damn.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, I had to.
but I
find-
mean, there's just some people, you know. I know we're making fun and poking fun, but there's just some people you can't talk to because it's like talking to a wall. And my friend once told me, you can't talk to a wall because one, they won't be receptive to anything you say, whether it's facts,
That's true.
whether it's proven fact, not just facts, because there's many kinds of facts.
Or
There-
documentation.
or
Like,
number
nope,
or statistics, because
Signed by
ultimately,
you, nope.
ultimately, there's two types of facts and statistics. There's type that speak the truth and tell what the truth is, and the type of statistics and facts that you use for your argument.
Yep.
Right.
The latter is always the worst because it's manipulated in a way to
Right. You're
make
manipulating
your
to
point
show
look
what
better.
you're-
The former is always the best because that's only for one thing, the truth.
That's it.
Like if this goes up, it's
Fact
gonna
is fact.
come down.
1 plus
Fact
1
is
will-
fact.
1 plus 1 will
exactly.
always equal
This
2.
is just for
Will
facts.
Smith doesn't agree.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
But that's the thing.
kidding.
That's the thing. The type of people you're gonna encounter, and you very hardly ever find the former. So sometimes you're gonna get to a point where even yourself, you might at one point for whatever purpose, one thing you might believe might make you a wall. Where no matter what facts, the truthful facts that are presented to you, you won't believe it. You won't be receptive to the conversation, argument, or anything because you believe this. The thing is that to order to get a wall to understand it, it's like anything. You have to break the wall. But when you break the wall, you're gonna break the foundation of who that person is.
Yep.
They will despise you and hate you for it more than
That's
if
a-
you just let them be a wall.
That's a nutshell version of like.
So you
like-
have to
No,
let
that's-
a
that-
wall
that's
be a
pretty deep.
wall and just move away.
Yep.
And lately, in the last year or so, I've realized that there's so many people who are walls when it comes to a certain topic. If you actually show them what the truth is, you're gonna break them, and they're gonna hate you more for it. So just let the wall be, and just walk around there and go somewhere else.
That's it.
Or
Wow, that was
just-
actually that was actually a great metaphor to say.
Or just talk about something else.
Yeah, talk about
actually,
Spider-Man.
I got something to talk about
Let's talk
because
about
we do need because we do need to give props where props is due.
Thank you.
Kendrick Lamar won a
Do, do,
Pulitzer.
do, do, do.
For what? He wrote a book?
No, no,
for
there's
his,
more than Pulitzers for books.
for
bro.
Damn.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
For the
Nice.
album, last album, Damn, non-classical.
non-classical.
I didn't even know
something
Pulitzer.
like
I
that.
thought it was all just
Like,
science shit. I just swear to God.
no,
He's not the first musician to
No,
win
'cause-
one. He's
no.
just the first one in,
in,
like,
in
God knows.
mainstream hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because usually people win who's in jazz or orchestras and stuff like that. But this is the first like
Not even
outside of those
Tupac, bro?
genres.
Because I think Tupac said some deep
Tupac
shit.
probably
Yeah, you
should've.
probably should have.
Yeah.
He should've.
But the genre has changed so much since he
Now he
passed.
could get
Yeah.
recognition.
If he was alive, well, he probably could get one first. I don't think he got another posthumous album coming out.
Yeah,
Probably. Like,
But the Pulitzer, was it for Damn or was it for the other one?
it was for Damn.
It was for
right?
Damn.
Okay.
It was for
There you
Damn. Yeah, it was like one of those where
Props.
you're like, whoa, like okay, like
Yeah.
it's like you did it. It's one of those where you're like, you did. You know, it's kind of like look where hip hop started to look where it's
Yeah.
at now.
Shout out to
I
Kung
mean,
Fu
Kendrick
Kenny.
Lamar won a Pulitzer. Like, think of it like this, right?
I'm trying to.
All these rappers could say everything they want. They're like, yeah, yo, I got Grammys, I got millions of album sales. Kendrick Lamar's like, but do you have a Pulitzer though?
It's the same thing with 3-6 Mafia won. They're like,
Yeah.
but do you have an Oscar? No. Shut the
3-6
fuck.
Mafia is
Remember
like,
what they won?
yeah, but do you have an Academy though? But
Do you have an
but see-
Oscar? No, thank you.
Yo, but here's the thing though. Right now, he won't be the only one. 3-6, it's 3-6 and Eminem. Eminem got one too.
Yeah.
For Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
So right now, there's a party of two.
Yeah.
Kendrick is the only one.
There you go. That's true. That is true.
He's like, do you have that Pulitzer though?
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, I heard that. I was like, whoa.
Dude, those are the kind of accolades you'd be like, holy shit, dude's like, you know?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. Like, that's crazy.
That
That was
is
a crazy
big
one
time.
for me. I read that. I was like, okay, damn. I
That's
wasn't
what's
even
up.
thinking that was even a category for him.
I didn't even know they did like music. I
I
know
didn't
they
know
did
either.
literature, like
Saw it.
science. I think it was mostly science.
Yeah,
like,
science and literature.
you know, yeah, I didn't know they did it for that. Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
But see that was one of those where I was like, all right, I gotta give credit where credit's due, man.
Yeah, bro.
That was awesome. Everyone's freaking out this week about Beyonce and Coachella. I didn't see none of it.
I didn't get a chance to look for it. I heard it.
What happened?
It looked pretty
She
good.
She did a 2-hour set and supposedly everyone died. Not literally, like everyone lost their mind.
She did a really good performance
well,
for
I mean, that's-
Coachella. You know, atypical
Yeah, Coachella's usually like
white kind of thing.
right,
They-
rock
they-
concert kind
Yeah,
of.
but
urbanized
you got to
it.
understand, she's no longer just as much as black people are gonna hate me for saying that. She's no longer a black person thing.
No, I know.
is
She's pop culture.
she's
She is-
transcended
yeah,
to
she-
like pop. So like when you
Yeah.
transcend to that, I mean, you might have came from like a black culture, but you belong to the masses now, whether you want to or not.
No, I know.
That's what that.
Yeah,
you know,
she's
that's your level now.
She's definitely done that, but just I guess the performance, she just had like She had
That's
Destiny,
what's
She had like a 200
like,
background
background people.
dancers.
She had
Yeah,
people
it was
dancing.
it
She
was
had
something
Her
else.
background dances are
She-
thick, bro.
Yeah, she had costume changes. She had
That's what's up.
Destiny Child came out and did some
Yeah,
drink.
it was
Like, it was like a
That's what's up, though.
It was a real set. Like
For free, right? How much is Coachella?
Oh, it's
I don't know.
expensive, dude.
I don't think
kinda-
So what's this thing I keep hearing on Facebook? The owner of Coachella, like, is some rich old white dude is giving his money to like rich old white dudes.
Probably.
Probably.
I won't be surprised.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
like-
that's one of those where I'm like, you're not surprising
Yeah.
me, bro.
I mean, that's like the Starbucks thing. Is like,
Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm gonna jump on that real quick.
Yo,
I actually got into a fight with somebody about this. Like,
wait,
And this is why.
Hold on. Before you,
I'm a
forgot the
premise.
wall
I'm a
conversation.
premises. I'm a
Okay.
premises first.
go. I want to hear why.
Let's
you fought, not the
last
story.
this last week, two African American gentlemen were waiting at a Starbucks in Philadelphia for a friend. They were actually going to be there to have meet one of their friends who happened to be real estate development, who wanted to get them into like the business or get them into a project he had. They were waiting. Somebody at Starbucks, before even asking them what they were doing or asking if they were going to get any drinks, decided to just call the cops and get them arrested for loitering. The friend shows up, the whole thing is recorded, and everybody loses their fucking mind for very good reasons. Because if anybody here who's ever met anybody at Starbucks, I don't know how many times I've gone to Starbucks to have a meeting, pre-production for a shoot or meet up for a shoot.
Yep.
I've waited up to 30 minutes before I bought a drink because I didn't want to drink coffee, drink it, and then have people come and have nothing to drink. So I've waited for the rest of my party to arrive for up
Same
to
here.
30 minutes, get the coffee together, and chill. I know motherfuckers who sat at Starbucks. This happens a lot in New York City. They take up a whole table, buy one cup of coffee, take up a whole table, have a printer, their laptop, and just doing business, literally running their business from a Starbucks. And all they do is buy one cup of fucking coffee. So the fact that this happened irritates the shit out of me. With that being said, I don't think it's right to crucify the company for the actions of one imbecilic, moronic manager or employee, whoever. I don't know. Because
last I've heard,
here's the basis why I'm
Yeah,
basing
he's-
this. This is the basis why I'm doing this is because for a long time, and I mean since the beginning of introductions of different races to this nation, minorities in particular have always been put into that stereotype or into the bin of a black man robbed somebody, all black people are thieves. An immigrant came here, so all Latino are immigrants. We, for the longest time, and as minorities, we fought the stereotype. Like, don't blame the masses for the incident of one. That's been our go-to fight the power. Right. Don't blame everybody for the incident of one.
Right. That being
said, our anger in this country and our philosophy and the way of thinking has transcended to that hate that we've had for that single individual that we atoned for their mistakes or have done whatever they've done. We've passed on to the whole race. We're doing the same thing, but on the corporate level.
Corporate level, yeah.
This one idiotic employee literally made everybody in Starbucks look like they were race-hating people who call the cops on minorities who sit there without buying shit.
Okay.
It shouldn't be the fault that because of that one imbecile, the whole company pays a price.
Okay, wait.
Because it's happened a lot.
Yeah, no. What you said is 100% true. Now, what I want to know is, why did you fight with somebody about this?
Because it's like, oh, you should boycott Starbucks. I'm like, look, I don't drink coffee that much. I like tea personally. But I'm not going to, if that's a pattern, yes, by all means, boycott the fuck out of them.
Right.
It's not.
That's not a pattern. It's an insulated incident.
Yeah.
The CEOs handled it magnificently.
Yep.
They did.
There's other incidents such as like United Airlines. Whose CEO, by the way, has fucked up every incident they've had or their PR or whatever.
Yeah.
He's handled it remarkably well.
So that's what your argument was.
My argument is like we're
not gonna boycott
we're
them
putting. No,
because
I
of
mean,
this one incident.
Yeah,
It's an isolated incident.
isolated incident. But my thing is that we're putting the hate that we normally carry for the races. Now we're transcending it into like the corporation.
It's misguided.
Misguided just because.
Misguided.
I mean, I know things.
Missiles with no guidances.
Exactly.
You know what, Omar? I'll be the first one to admit I like hearing different point of views, and that's the first time I heard somebody give that point of view about this specific incident in that way. I think that. Yes, I agree. It's like, listen, if you like you said, if it's a habit,
then yes, by all means.
Then fuck them.
It was an extreme. It was a very extreme and stupid incident for it to happen in the first place.
First place. Yeah. And then the other thing is that some blame has to be put on the cops because you can't just arrest somebody without proof.
That was just wild.
Like you didn't. You just went in. somebody called 2 black people. Okay, arrest those 2. Like you didn't take statements from the people who in the video. You hear people say,
You hear
"Yeah,
the white
they
guy
weren't doing
nah,
shit."
I was here the whole time.
They didn't do
What they
nothing.
do?
But the cops don't take statements from everybody in there. They just go and take the statement from the manager, and
Right.
that's it, dude.
Yeah, it was.
As poor policemen.
That's just BS policeman. Like
Yeah, man.
you should lose your fucking job because as a policeman, you don't play judge, jury, and executioner.
Right.
You're there to arrest
That
if you
was
have to and get
crazy.
all the facts.
It really was one of those where
It's like
I-
that is just a failure
yeah,
from that.
I think for me the big thing that came out of it was what you said. The CEO of Starbucks handled it like textbook. The
Yeah,
way
and they're
he-
closing for a day, right?
Yeah, they closed
half a
for-
day.
They closed it for like I think it was like a day. or
Today.
something.
Today, actually. Today's Tuesday or next Tuesday?
They did
Something,
that.
yeah.
Obviously, they dropped the
800.
charges, and the manager's no longer there.
Yeah, he doesn't mean, dude. I just made. How many people have you seen sit there, fucking everybody?
I've done it. I mean, I
Dude.
know you've done it. You know, and mind you, I don't drink Starbucks.
Yeah.
I mean, to be perfectly blunt, this is me not supporting Starbucks. I drink their coffee. I'm running to the shitter in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really that bad.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
I
Yeah,
can't.
the story
You've
was
heard the story.
Yeah,
I
I
took
think
my
you said it
Twitter
on the
story.
podcast.
Yeah,
I
You
almost
said it on the
died.
podcast.
So-
Yeah.
I said it on the podcast before, dude.
Yeah.
I drank a Starbucks because I was dying. It was like 7 in the morning, and it was like I was like 2 hours away down. I'm heading towards Maryland. I stopped at the last rest stop at
You're
New
lucky.
Jersey, and I drank a Starbucks coffee because I needed coffee. And there was no Dunkin' Donuts on the highway.
Yeah.
I took a Starbucks. Before I even got to Delaware, bro, I was dying. I was dying.
Delaware's a pretty small state.
Dude,
you go through Delaware in 15
but
minutes.
I was going to Maryland. Yeah, but I was going to Maryland, bro. So next thing you know,
Yeah.
I'm there pinching butt cheeks for like another hour and a half. I almost died.
Dude.
I almost died, bro. Like, yo, we finally
More of
got
the
there.
story. Don't go on a car ride with
No,
Carlos.
no,
don't
being
go to
dead serious.
Starbucks
This is
with
me.
Carlos.
This is me not supporting Starbucks, bro. I mean, dead serious. By the time when we got to my sister-in-law's house, I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Where's the
Sup?
bathroom?"
Yeah.
Yo, it was bad, dude. It was so
I'm
bad.
about to wreck shop.
Oh, right. It's an understatement.
Yeah. But
Rhonda, you
The-
as a black man in America today, what was your feelings and
I
expressions?
mean,
of the
of
incident?
course, the instant thing is always anger or whatever. But yeah, like I said, it's the thing is misguided. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Let me just double back to my original point, only because I'm probably forget.
No, go for it.
This I don't know if y'all remember a few years ago. The CEO has kind of always been on this wave. Remember, it was like he wanted to. It sounded wild and people laughed at him, but I was with him. But I understand the point maybe a different way. He was like he wanted to have like people come into Starbucks and sit down and have like discussions about race. I don't know if y'all remember that. I think this is like around the first
I
wave
think I
of
do remember
police
that.
shootings.
Yeah, I do remember.
Okay.
You remember
He was
that?
confrontational about it. He was like, guys, yo, we need to talk
We
about
need
this.
to
Yeah.
talk about we need to
Yeah.
talk about the elephant in the room in the country kind of thing. So he's been on this wave of trying to get on the right page, but it's like how do you find the right medium and how do you do it? Who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody's done it yet.
Exactly.
But like I said, it's misguided. Well, like you said, it's misguided. Like I said, it's always the anger. I don't know. I see things differently. I mean, protesting is fine. I know what it used to do. It doesn't do that anymore. Everything's corporate. You got to hit them where it hurts in the
Exactly.
pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
But I don't think that, like you said, this is an isolated thing. Probably shouldn't.
You shouldn't be hitting
Boycott.
that specific. Yeah, you should be hitting Starbucks
I mean,
for that. It was
if
just
you want
that
to
one.
be petty,
Yeah.
you could boycott
this
that
petty is-
store.
I mean, this
and
ain't
go to
Chick-fil-A or
Starbucks, so
Denny's,
what?
you know, when Denny's used to kick black people out.
Oh,
of the service.
yeah.
That was something you wouldn't like
Dude,
support
that's
because
one of
that
those
was
where
some
you're
shit
like,
right there.
really, dude? Like,
Yeah.
there's some incidents where you're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
There's other incidents where you could always argue and have like a good, healthy discussion about it. But there's some where you're like, listen, man, there's no way you could put a positive spin on this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's no-
There really isn't one.
Yep.
And this specific Starbucks incident was one of those where you're like, dude, like, listen, man, just fire the guy now, apologize, get it
Yeah.
out of the way, because you know it was stupid. Like, it
Shout
really
out to
was.
those guys for keeping it cool, you know, being respectful. Just they took the punch that they didn't deserve.
Yeah, they're like, all right, well,
Yeah.
Now they're probably gonna have enough money to
Dude,
buy that
but
real
you know
estate
what?
development if they
You know
wanted
what?
to. So, they,
Yo,
so
for
it
the
all's gonna
record-
work out full circle in some
Yo,
way or
for
another.
the record, I loved the actual friend who showed up at the last second.
Yo,
he
he
was
was
like,
like, yo, he's like,
They were
why are you
waiting
arresting
for
him?
me.
Tell me why you're arresting him.
Yo,
What did
I
they
love
do?
that.
Like,
I love
I'm
Oh,
like,
he's a friend.
yeah, that
Oh,
was
I
that,
thought-
that was
I
a
thought
real
he-
estate guy.
I thought he was like the
No,
boss.
that
I
was
thought he
his
with
friend.
them.
Real estate
That
guy
was his
was
friend who was
waiting for.
waiting for them.
He showed up. These are my friends. They were.
He
waiting
showed up
for him
literally as they
before
were
got
like,
drinks. What's
pretty
the
like, he's like, what, yo, I just showed up literally as they were
Yo,
about
it was
to arrest him.
insane. The moment that guy showed up, That's when it started
Yeah.
recording. I was like,
What
oh,
did they arrest him for? Not to
Loitering.
Yeah,
Trespassing. Yeah, trespassing.
really
Thank you.
soliciting, maybe, but trespassing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
stop.
why the DA was like, "What the like?" If you read when they did the report, one of the newspaper reported that the Philly DA was like, "What can I get them for?" It's a fucking Starbucks. They didn't harass anybody.
It was insane. It was
Like,
insane.
there's not enough evidence that the manager was right in calling the cops. Like,
yeah. It's gonna be one of those, man. Like honestly, that's gonna be an interesting one to see what happens. I
dude,
definitely
it's
want.
gonna be a good case study for sure.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we should start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
But I just want to just say one thing before we do,
Hakuna
because
Matata?
I don't want to even talk about it right now because it's just happened like yesterday.
What happened?
Oh no. The whole Stormy Daniels Cohen, and they named Sean Hannity as the third dude. Did you see that? Yeah. It just started. There's really not much to say right now. But now that we know, it's gonna hit the fan like by next week.
Dude, they hit the fan admitting he got arrested, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna get so good. Like that's why right now, like I think in the past week, like as soon as they raided the lawyer's office, they actually found this. As soon as they raided the lawyer's office, Sean Hannity's show went to him going off on the FBI about that raid for days. And everyone's like, "Damn, why is so
you
mad?"
son?
Yeah, why are you
Then
mad?
one day they're like, "Sean Hannity was the third client." Everyone's like, "Oh!" Yo, you know the transcript says that when they named them, the courtroom laughed.
Like, they probably laugh like, "Yeah, why?" There's
They're like obvious. That makes perfect
it
sense.
makes sense. That
Like,
makes sense.
so I definitely think we should talk about it more. I don't think we should hold off just to see what's gonna happen by next week.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just a little teaser because I definitely think that's gonna go off. You
House
know?
of Cards is falling.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, that's
it's
fucking
getting
fun.
crazy. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, I think we should call it.
I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Fellas, it was an awesome episode. Thank you so much for coming by and visiting us. Tune in next week. My name is Carlos,
Rod.
Omar.
and I guess we'll talk to you next week.
Peace.
Peace.